A U.S. Business Tax Guide. United States Business Tax Introduction. Everything I could find about taxes and law is in here. It's not just about income tax and the type of income tax the different business structures pay, from sole proprietorship to a corporation. It's about businesses collecting sales tax for the government and other taxes too. If you own an internet business and it's big, they're coming after you to collect sales tax for them. They got Amazon collecting state sales tax. They'll keep going. There's information about business expenses, tax deductions, tax audit, tax evasion, and tax court. There's a chapter on dodging income taxes, which is different from doing business off the books, which I cover in my Protecting Your Money book. Tax dodgers practice tax avoidance, but they mostly believe that taxes are immoral and unjust against us, the people, as free beings in the universe. I covered as much as I could about business and employment law in this book, but these are huge areas. I created 2 other books that somewhat fill in the holes. Law Superbook. Human Resource Management Info and Career Guide. Even small businesses need lawyers to help process paperwork with real estate, leases, licenses, etc. You need an accountant or bookkeeper to do the taxes. A lawyer will help if there's a tax audit or tax evasion charge. Lawyers do a lot of what they call preventive law. They look over everything in the business to see if it's legal before it goes out. Product liability is big. You have to safety test all products. Even then, if it hurts someone, you could be in trouble. Trade dress is big. You can't copy of the look of famous businesses with a trademark logo and their own unique look. A lot of retail businesses put cameras up not really to catch thieves but to protect themselves in case somebody claims they fell and injured themselves or something like that. A good lawyer checks everything in advance to make sure you don't get into trouble with the government or sued by someone. Interview lawyers to see if you will be comfortable working with one. Make sure they have served other small businesses similar to yours. Find out ahead of time exactly what service you are buying, what the working relationship will be, and what fees will be charged. In some places, rather than hire a lawyer, there are services called prepaid legal services where for a flat monthly fee, you get routine lawyer services. Be honest about your business situation. Advice based on partial or incorrect information is no advice at all. If you are having problems, don't be embarrassed. Tell your lawyer your problems. He might have the experience to help you. Expect your lawyer to tell you what's going on. Don't give your lawyer the power to make decisions. Tell him or her explain things to you. You can't trust anyone with money. Don't give a lawyer, manager, or accountant power of attorney over the business's money. Take a course at the local community college in business, business law, record keeping and taxes to develop more skill in areas where you are inexperienced. Business law information may be tough to find because information is all over the place. First, try the law section at the library, number 340-349, namely number 346.7106 or KE1658 or KF1659. Next, try the business section, number 650 to 659. 650 business and related. 651 office services. 652 writing. 653 shorthand. 655 printing and related activities. 657 accounting. 658 management, mail order, advertising, grants. 659 miscellaneous. Beyond that, there are 2 other business type sections that might help you. 330 economics. 331 work. 332 money, investing, stock market. 333 land, real estate. 334 cooperative systems. 335 collectivist systems and schools. 336 public finance, taxes. 338 production, corporations. 339 distribution and consumption. 380 commerce. 381 internal commerce, shopping, mail order, etc. 382 International commerce. 383 Postal communications. 384 Communications, TV, Internet, etc. 385 Railroad transportation. 386 Inland waterway transportation. 387 Water, air, space transportation. 388 Ground transportation. 389 Metrology and standardization. State laws vary. There are federal laws that kick in at different numbers of employees in the company. If you have fewer than 4 employees, there are really no hiring or firing laws. You can do pretty much as you see fit. If you have less than 15 employees, you have a lot of personal control as to how you run the business. Federal discrimination laws do not apply, but some state laws will. If you have between 15 and 49 employees, federal discrimination laws and other laws kick in. If you have 50 or more employees, you're considered big time. You have to follow federal laws regarding family and medical leave, sexual harassment, drugs in the workplace, employee testing, discrimination, smoking, etc. The bigger you get employee-wise, the more necessary it becomes to clearly outline your policies in a manual and make it more detailed as you go along and deal with new situations. Some of the major federal business laws are as follows. Federal Trade Commission Act works to prohibit unfair and deceptive business practices, particularly in the areas of advertising claims and product labeling, ftc.gov. Clayton Act is against monopolistic practices and mergers that lower competition in a free market economy. Robinson-Patman Act prohibits the discriminatory pricing of a product based on factors other than trying to make a profit based on costs such as price fixing. Sherman Antitrust Act governs those practices that are contrary to fair, free trade like price fixing, offering different prices to different people or in different regions, limiting trade, deliberately excluding businesses, etc. We're not supposed to pay 40% of everything we earn to the government. It's an illegal law that came in shortly after the private bankers hijacked the American monetary system by getting their private Federal Reserve Central Bank bill passed on Christmas Eve, 1913. Shortly after that, they illegally created the Internal Revenue Service, which goes against the Constitution. Just type this term into any search engine. Unfair taxes violate U.S. Constitution. That was the beginning of the downfall of the United States because the government unfairly takes money from the people, which goes against the basic rule of economics, the multiplier effect, which states that the more money in the economy and the more money people have, the more they spend. When you spend money, the person you give it to spends it somewhere, then the person they give it to spends it, and the cycle goes on. They say that every dollar spent adds $4.50 to the economy. The government is screwing us, but most people don't understand that income tax is unnecessary and unjust. People are too afraid to organize against the IRS because they're afraid of getting trashed like they trashed Chuck Harder, outspoken radio talk show host back in the day. I don't pay taxes. I don't own much. I keep cash at hand, money in PayPal, money in a foreign account and some money in a local account. I stay under their radar. I have no real estate. They could get what's in my local account if they catch me. They can't touch my foreign account. They might find my cash if they do a search warrant on my place. I did an internet search. I know the IRS has the power to search PayPal records for tax records, but I keep my money there for other types of protection like lawsuits and my student loan debt from way back. The government has the sovereignty to create its own money. It doesn't have to borrow it from the private Federal Reserve then pay it back at compound interest. They're robbing us blind and nobody rises up against them. Read more at my website tonykell.com. Try number 658.15 at the Library for Business Finance and Tax Books. freeinfosociety.com/media/pdf/4616.pdf, tax deductions for small business. freeinfosociety.com/media/pdf/4616.pdf. Entrepreneur magazines. Small Business Development Catalog. epub 1625. Des Plaines, Illinois 60017. 800-421-2300. Entrepreneur.com. Entrepreneurmag.com. Chapter 1. Business Taxes. Government Taxes. If you intend to employ one or more employees, you will be required to deduct federal income taxes and Social Security payments from their checks. This will involve your filing for a federal tax number and necessitates contact with your local IRS office. You will have to contact the IRS and get an application for an taxpayer identification number. Ask for information about the federal tax withholding and reporting requirements, number 539. Payroll taxes and expenses will amount to from 13% to 17% of your gross payroll depending on workmen's compensation rates for the various job classifications. Payroll expenses include FICA taxes, Social Security, few taxes, federal unemployment, SU taxes, state unemployment, WC or SDI, workmen's compensation. Also, you will be required to withhold from your employees' wages and pay over to the federal and state. FICA taxes, Social Security employer's share. Federal income taxes. State income taxes, most states. State disability insurance, some states. The three basic types of payroll taxes are: income taxes, employer withholds them from employee wages. Could get complicated because in some areas, they are not only federal but also state and city income taxes, so you have 3 different forms to file just for income taxes. Go to irs.gov. Get IRS publication number 937, Employer's Tax Guide. For state tax withholding information, go to your State Department of Revenue. Your employees give you information on their federal W-4 forms from which you deduct withholding amounts by looking it up in tables. You can use a software package to help you do this, hire someone to do it within the company or outsource to an outside company or contractor. Use IRS Form 941 and Form 8109. Social Security and Medicare, both federal taxes, you pay half, the employee pays half. Unemployment, generally a state and federal program, employers deduct money from their employees' paychecks and pay into the system. Refer to the Department of Labor in the phone book for more information. You will collect unemployment payments from employees during each pay period. Your state will make you fill out a form and deposit the funds on a quarterly basis. For the federal part of it, use IRS Form 940. You have to do income tax withholding. Go to irs.gov, 800-829-1040 for more information. You can pay by EFTSA, Electronic Federal Tax Payment System. Every state is different, but you have to follow the rules. Firstly, go to your accountant or the Office of the Secretary of Commerce or Revenue to find out what rules you have to follow. You have to determine whether the worker will be deemed an employee according to the IRS. Get Form SS-8 from the Internal Revenue Service, information for use in determining whether a worker is an employee for federal employment taxes and income tax withholding. Form SS-8 has worksheets for computing income tax withholding, FICA, and FUTA, federal unemployment tax. Get a federal taxpayer identification number by filling out IRS Form SS-4, Application for Taxpayer Identification Number. Contact the Office of your Secretary of State or Department of Revenue for worksheets in computing state unemployment compensation. Obtain a state taxpayer identification number from your state's Department of Revenue and Taxation. Obtain a state unemployment compensation taxpayer identification number. Verify that the employee is an American or has a legal right to work in the United States by filling out Form 1-9, Employment Eligibility Verification, and getting Form M-274, Handbook for Employers with instructions for completing Form 1-9, available from the U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Service. ins.usdoj.gov and ins.gov. Obtain employee withholding information. IRS Form W-4, the Employees Withholding Allowance Certificate is used both for federal and state withholding. Employers are required to ask individuals who are hired whether they have court-ordered child support payments that are required to be withheld from income. Employers are legally required to ask the terms of the court order and follow its terms. Notify your employees of their eligibility for Earned Income Credit Tax Refund. The Earned Income Credit, EIC, is a refundable tax credit for some low-income workers who have dependent children. Use IRS Notice 797, Eligibility for Refund because of Earned Income Credit and IRS Form W-5, Earned Income Credit Advance Payment Certificate. Notice 797 is a printed notice that the employer must give the employee within 1 week before or after the employer provides the employee with Form W-2. An eligible employee must file a Form W-5 with the employer each year. Withhold federal income tax and employee share of FICA, and withhold state income taxes. List these entries both in your accounting books and on your employee's pay statement. The taxes are withheld each time wages are paid, and the taxes are paid through periodic deposits and quarterly tax returns. Payroll taxes include the employer's share of FICA, Social Security tax, FUTA, Federal Unemployment Tax, SUTA, State Unemployment Tax. These deposits are made with Form 8109, Federal Tax Deposit Coupon, which is sent to the employer after the IRS receives the application for an taxpayer identification number. FUTA tax deposits are made quarterly, unless the amount owed is less than $100, in which case it is carried over to the next quarter. File IRS Form 941, Employer's Quarterly Federal Tax Return. File State Quarterly Withholding Return. File State Unemployment Compensation Tax Report, which is usually a quarterly filing. File FUTA Tax Return with IRS Form 940, Employer's Annual Federal Unemployment Tax Return or 940EZ Simplified Form. Provide Form W-2 to employees' wage and tax statement. File State Reconciliation of Income Tax Withheld. If you hire independent contractors, don't withhold any money. File Form 1099 Miscellaneous. Provided to worker, and 1096, Summary. Form filed with the IRS, if the amount of funds paid exceed a specified level. Employers who pay pensions are required to issue IRS Form 1099-R. Requirements for workers' compensation are set by state statute. Contact your Secretary of State's office to find out the requirements in your state and the conditions under which workers will be considered employees or independent contractors for workers' compensation purposes. Other possible taxes are sales taxes, real estate taxes, personal property taxes, business registration fees. If you don't like all this paperwork associated with hiring employees, you have some options. Hire all independent contract workers. Hire a part-time bookkeeper. Hire a human resources employee who takes care of all these things. Hire the services of a payroll firm to handle the paperwork. Get IRS Publication 334, Tax Guide for Small Business. In essence, use Form 941, 943 for farm workers, for Social Security, Medicare, and income tax withholding. Use Form 940 or 940EZ for federal unemployment tax/FUTA. Use Form 8109 for depositing employment taxes. In the end, this all seems like a bunch of petty bureaucratic crap, but the government wants their money. You could get away with neglecting these taxes for life, but if your company is bringing in any decent amount of money, you can rest assured some bureaucrat will be sniffing around at some point in time. Then you could be charged criminally for tax evasion on top of all the penalties they will stick you with. If you do this stuff yourself, it takes time to get the hang of it. Whenever you give a raise, you have to pay taxes on it, so maybe other benefits might be more beneficial to you. Use either a software package or hire somebody to do all this stuff for you. If you don't pay your taxes on time, that's a red flag to the tax auditing department to give you an audit. If you go under, the IRS is the first in line to get paid. Bankruptcy doesn't absolve a tax bill. If you collect money from your employees for taxes but don't pay the feds, they will lay a criminal charge of theft on you. irs.gov/businesses/small. ssa.gov/bso/bso welcome. ssa.gov/employers/bsohb new. ssa.gov/employers/ssnv. Internal Revenue Service. Washington, D.C. 800-829-3676. irs.gov/pub/irs-pdf/pl5.pdf. Publication 15, Circular E, Employer's Tax Guide, explains federal income tax withholding and Social Security tax requirements for employers. Employer Identification Number/EIN. Businesses with employees are required to obtain a federal taxpayer identification number, EIN. Every corporation must obtain a taxpayer identification number, which is the Social Security number for a business. You need this number even if you do not hire any employees. When you go into business, you have to identify yourself either through your own Social Security number or a taxpayer identification number/EIN. This number, either your SSN or your EIN, is also called your taxpayer identification number/TIN. Some sole proprietorships can get by with just using the owner's SSN, but if you hire any employees, you have to get an EIN. To get an EIN, file Form SS4 with the IRS, irs.gov. EINs are not public record, but some database sellers have found this information about companies through other methods, like through freeRISA.com. To obtain a nonprofit corporation's EIN, go to guidastar.org. Along with your TIN, request other IRS business tax forms like Circular E, explains the taxes due. W-4 forms for each employee. Tax deposit coupons. Form 941 quarterly return for withholding. EINs are 9 digits long, with the first 2 digits indicating which IRS district office the number was issued through. Alabama, Birmingham, 63. Alaska, Anchorage, 92. Arizona, Phoenix, 86. Arkansas, Little Rock, 71. California, Laguna Niguel, 33. Los Angeles, 95. Sacramento, 68. San Francisco, 94. San Jose, 77. Colorado, Denver, 84. Connecticut, Hartford, 06. Delaware, Wilmington, 51. Florida, Fort Lauderdale, 65. Jacksonville, 59. Georgia, Atlanta, 58. Hawaii, Honolulu, 99. Idaho, Boise, 82. Illinois, Chicago, 36. Springfield, 37. Indiana, Indianapolis, 35. Iowa, Des Moines, 42. Kansas, Wichita, 48. Kentucky, Louisville, 61. Louisiana, New Orleans, 72. Maine, Augusta, 01. Maryland, Baltimore, 52. Massachusetts, Boston, 04. Michigan, Detroit, 38. Minnesota, St. Paul, 41. Mississippi, Jackson, 64. Missouri, St. Louis, 43. Montana, Helena, 81. Nebraska, Omaha, 47. Nevada, Las Vegas/Reno, 88. New Hampshire, Portsmouth, 02. New Jersey, Newark, 22. New Mexico, Albuquerque, 85. New York, Albany, 14. Brooklyn, 11. Buffalo, 16. Manhattan, 13. North Carolina, Greensboro, 56. North Dakota, Fargo, 45. Ohio, Cincinnati, 31. Cleveland, 34. Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, 73. Oregon, Portland, 93. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, 23. Pittsburgh, 25. Rhode Island, Providence, 05. South Carolina, Columbia, 57. South Dakota, Aberdeen, 46. Tennessee, Nashville, 62. Texas, Austin, 74. Dallas, 75. Houston, 76. Utah, Salt Lake City, 87. Vermont, Burlington, 03. Virginia, Richmond, 54. Washington, Seattle, 91. West Virginia, Parkersburg, 55. Wisconsin, Milwaukee, 39. Wyoming, Cheyenne, 83. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, 52. Get a federal tax ID number by filling out IRS Form SS4. fedworld.gov/pub/irs-pdf/fss4.pdf. freereisa.com, search for employer identification numbers on public and private companies. Business tax ID number. If you need a business tax ID number, file for a business license from your state Secretary of State as an LLC, sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporation and get the number from them after you pay $100 or so. Federal Insurance Contributions Act, FICA/Social Security Tax. The Federal Insurance Contributions Act/FICA funds Social Security. When you work for somebody, your employer contributes taxes on you for the FICA fund. The FICA tax rate is currently 7.65% of the first $60,600 of wages plus 1.45% of all additional wages. When you are a sole proprietor, you must pay both the employee and employer shares of the Social Security tax, which is 7.65% doubled, which equals 15.3% of earnings up to $60,600 and 2.9% of all additional earnings. As a sole proprietor, you can deduct half of the self-employment tax from your income on your income tax return. Employment taxes. All businesses that employ people have to get an individual taxpayer identification number/IN for their business, a separate IN for every business you might own. You get one by filing an SS4, application for taxpayer identification number with the IRS, irs.gov. As a business owner, you are responsible for the following employment taxes. Income tax on payroll. Social Security and Medicare/FICA. Unemployment taxes. Disability taxes. Workers' compensation. For these taxes, some of them you, as the business owner, pay the full amount, such as the 6.2% federal unemployment tax plus the state unemployment tax, which varies for every state. If you have employees and are working above board as opposed to off the books, you are liable for unemployment taxes. The federal unemployment tax system, along with the state systems, provides unemployment payments to workers who have lost their jobs. Via the Federal Unemployment Tax Act/FUTA, taxes are payable on the first $7,000 in wages paid to each employee during the tax year. The tax is imposed on the employer and may not be deducted from employees' wages. The current federal rate is 6.2%, with a system in place giving the employer credit up to 5.4% depending on how much state unemployment tax he pays. For Social Security and Medicare, you're required to pay 15.3% combined, 12.4% for Social Security and 2.45% for Medicare. You deduct half of this from the employee paychecks and contribute the other half from the business. Disability and worker compensation taxes are determined by the state governments. These taxes are not as simple as they seem. Currently, beyond $82,000 annual income, you don't pay Social Security tax, and the federal-state mix on unemployment taxes is convoluted at best. A lot of employers get around the headaches of hiring employees and dealing with all the taxes by hiring people they call independent contractors who they give specific jobs to. These freelancers go off and do them on their own, come back, get paid and do the taxes by themselves as self-employed people. The IRS criteria for what constitutes an employee versus an independent contractor are: financial control. Are you the worker's primary source of income or does he have other clients? Do you control his hourly wage or does he set it, then you can decide if he's worth that fee? Behavioral control. Do you control his work on a regular basis? If the independent contractor earns more than $600 a year from you, you're required to send him a 1099 form from the IRS. Get the following IRS booklets: 533 Self-Employment Tax, 539 Employment Taxes, Internet Taxes. The Federal Internet Tax Freedom Act supposedly keeps the Internet free of taxes, for now only. It's not permanent, because one of its stipulations is that neither the federal government nor state governments are allowed to levy any new taxes on Internet users, which is all fine and good, but the fact remains that there is a whole system in place for business taxes and that hasn't changed a bit regardless of whether you use the Internet or not for commerce. You still collect taxes on products you sell to customers within your state whether you do it through the Internet or not and pay that tax to the state government. You still charge no state sales taxes to customers you sell to who are not located in the state from which you do business. If your company does not have a physical presence in a state, you do not collect state sales tax from those customers. Physical presence used to mean that your company has an office, store, or warehouse in that state, but nowadays the concept is fuzzy with respect to Internet businesses. There are generally two criteria that are currently being bandied about, and the solution comes down to what law your particular state has decided to go with. The two definitions of an in-state Internet business are as follows. If your Internet business is based in a state, if that's where you operate from in your Internet business and where your computers and stuff are, you are a business in that state and must collect state sales tax from in-state customers and pay them to the government. If your web host is located in any state, the company that your website is on, then you have a physical presence in that state, hence you are subject to state sales tax laws. Some Internet businesses are trying to stay one step ahead of the state sales tax man by not signing up for it. If you have your own web server at home and are not hosting your website through a commercial web hosting company, the only way they can catch you is if a state sales tax bureaucrat stumbles upon your website and checks the register to see that you are located in-state but not paying state sales tax. Some Internet businesses collect the state sales tax and keep it for themselves. Some big corporations are locating their Internet sales departments in no sales tax states, so all sales they make from the website has no sales tax even though the product is sitting in warehouses all over the country in states with sales taxes and will be shipped from there. Some state governments tax services, which includes computer services or information services, so if you have a business where you download information, software, advice, or music to customers, you could be subject to sales tax. Even if your state doesn't tax services, they could have a clause saying that downloaded products are subject to sales tax. Chapter 2. Business Income Taxes 1. What qualifies as a business? In order to claim deductions as opposed to starting and using a business in order to keep some of the possible income you earn from other sources like a job or investments, you have to meet certain IRS standards. If you generate income from any business, it's subject to tax. Along with this, you're entitled to deduct your business's expenses. How much you can deduct depends on whether the IRS classifies your business as a hobby or a for-profit business. If it's classified a hobby, you can deduct expenses equal to the income generated but no more. Even if it cost you $5,000 in expenses and you only sold $400 worth of product or services, your deduction on your income tax form is limited to $400. You may not even be able to deduct the $400 because hobby expenses can only be claimed as a miscellaneous itemized deduction. Miscellaneous expenses are deductible only when they exceed 2% of your adjusted gross income. If you can prove that your venture is a profit-motivated business, you won't be liable by the 2% floor on miscellaneous deductions. You will be able to deduct all your expenses even if they are more than the income generated from the business, on Schedule C, where business income and expenses are reported, and you will be able to claim your deductions whether or not you itemize. In order to qualify, your business must measure up to IRS standards. The best way to prove that you run a profit-motivated business is to make the operation profitable. The IRS standard is that it is if it has made a profit in at least 3 of the past 5 years or 2 of 7 years for breeding, training, showing, or racing horses. The IRS realizes that good businesses, especially start-ups, may not meet this standard, which is why they will let your plead you case to them that your business is profit-motivated even if you don't meet the 3 of 5 year profit test. You have to prove to them that your business is being run in a business-like manner and that you're working hard to make it profitable. Document all your business activities, save your records and run the business professionally. In order to be deductible, a business expense must be ordinary and necessary in order to run your type of business. Business taxes 1. You will need to plan for income tax, Social Security. All self-employed persons must pay a federal self-employment tax, employees' taxes, if you hire anyone, property tax and business-related taxes such as sales tax, gross receipts, or inventory tax, in some states and localities, and excise or individual item taxes, on certain commodities. To be eligible for business deductions, your business must be an activity undertaken with the intent of making a profit. You meet this requirement if your business makes a profit in any 2 years of a 5-year period. If you're self-employed, you'll be able to deduct the cost of equipment you use in your business, such as a computer, printer, fax machine and copier, phone, office supplies, business travel and advertising. You can deduct a portion of your rent or mortgage, homeowner's insurance, and utilities if you have a qualified home office. You can make tax-deductible contributions to a retirement plan for the self-employed, such as a simplified employee pension or a solo 401(k). You can deduct your health insurance premiums if you aren't eligible for health insurance from an employer or your spouse's employer. You will probably hire an accountant to do your taxes, but it still doesn't excuse you from keeping good records and understanding the basic tax process. There are 3 important facets of business income tax. Your income, the money you earn from customers either by buying your products or having you do a service for them. This total of all money you take in is your gross receipts. The second factor, the cost of goods sold, is subtracted from the gross receipts value to give you a tentative figure for profit, money earned, therefore taxable income. Returns and allowances allows you to subtract all the money you gave back to customers from your profit value to further reduce your taxable income. So far, we have gross receipts, cost of goods sold, returns and allowances equals gross income. With gross income, you go to the tax code, look for as many deductions and exemptions as you can find to further reduce your tax load, generally called deductible expenses, anything you spent on in the ordinary and necessary operation of your business as a legitimate business expense. There are all kinds of deductions and some things that can be deducted in some cases and not in others. This is where the big mess is, to know what you can deduct. The information at irs.gov might help, but it's tedious. A good accountant with lots of experience knows this stuff off the top of his or her head. If your federal income tax for the year is expected to exceed $1,000 or $500 for corporations, the IRS wants you to pay it in quarterly installments, April 15th, June 15th, September 15 and January 15, because it wants to get its money from you as soon as possible without waiting the entire year for it. The Internal Revenue Service supplies the following free booklets, and runs free workshops, to give you details on your specific obligations. Your Federal Income Tax, number 17. Tax Guide for Small Business, number 334. Business Use of Your Home, number 587. Employer's Tax Guide, Circular E. Self-Employment Tax, number 533. Tax information on retirement plans for the self-employed, number 560. Tax information on depreciation, number 534. Information on excise taxes, number 510. Tax withholding and estimated tax, number 505. Federal tax withholding and reporting requirements, number 539. There are various federal and state forms you will need to fill out to start a small business. The federal government requires you to fill out several forms including the following. Application for Taxpayer Identification Number, Form SS4, if you have employees or are subject to excise tax. Employer's Annual Unemployment Tax Return, Form 940. Employer's Quarterly Federal Tax Return, Form 941. Employees Withholding Allowance Certificate, W4. Employer's Wage and Tax Statement, W2. Reconciliation/transmittal of income and tax statements, W3. As a business owner, you should be aware that every business decision, each purchase and transaction you make has tax implications or built-in tax advantages or disadvantages. Each business situation is different and tax laws change, so consult up-to-date references, a trusted attorney and an accountant who can advise you on your particular obligations and benefits. Most states have unemployment taxes which will have to be deducted from the paychecks of any employees you hire. And there are a number of states that have income taxes, disability insurance, and any number of other taxes. Again, the best thing to do is check with your local office of the IRS. And above all else, don't forget to ask for the rules of the minimum wage law and comply. In a sole proprietorship, you fill out various forms of the 1040, either the C1 or CEZ or F for farm businesses. For a partnership, the business fills out Form 1065. The partners fill out Form 1040, E3. In a corporation, the owners fill out Form 1120, 1120A, 1120W or 8109. For an S corporation, the owners fill out Form 1120s or 8109. Business taxes too. If your state and city has an income tax, contact the appropriate tax office and get the relevant forms and instructions. It's all in the phone book or directory assistance. One of the first things to do when starting your new business is to get federal and state application forms for ID numbers. Request business startup application forms from the Internal Revenue Service and from the State Tax Commission. After your applications are sent in, you will be notified of your number and get a packet of information. Depository forms, quarterly report forms, W4S, W2S, estimated tax forms, etc., will then be mailed periodically as needed. You pay more taxes when you run a business as opposed to working for someone. The easiest ways to simplify your taxes are to operate either as a sole proprietor or S corporation, because both options enable you to report your business profits and losses in your personal tax return. If you can swing it to have no employees or pay them off the books, which is illegal, you won't have to worry about all that withholding tax for Social Security, unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, etc. As a sole proprietor, partner in a partnership or owner of an S corporation, you are required to make estimated tax payments quarterly if your income tax on all sources of income and your self-employment tax will exceed taxes paid through withholding and credits by $500 or more. If you don't do this within accurate reason, a penalty may be imposed on you. Your estimated tax payments are due April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and January 15th. Get IRS Publication 334, Tax Guide for Small Business and IRS Form 1040-ES, Estimated Tax for Individuals. If you are audited, prepare for it. Have good, neat records. Some of the things the IRS looks for with businesses are as follows. Gross income, IRS Code Section 61, compared with similar businesses for profit ratio to income. Trade or business expenses, IRS Code Section 162. Don't take too many expenses. Inventories, IRS Code Section 471, the IRS is looking for businesses understating inventory. Sales of trade or business property, IRS Code Section 1231, you need IRS Form 4797 to report these sales. The IRS is looking for math errors. Disguised compensation, IRS Code Section 3121. Don't pay people with inventory. Employer's liability for employment taxes, IRS Code Section 3509. Don't classify employees as independent contractors. If your business is any type of trust, the IRS is more likely to audit you. Get IRS Publication 2193, Too Good to Be True Trusts. IRS Business and Professional Activity Codes. If you run a business, you have to choose an activity code from among the ones the IRS offers. They have income to profit ratios calculated out for all manner of businesses. If your ratios differ significantly from theirs, they will use that as the basis for an audit. The IRS has audit guides for specific businesses/industries. You can get them either at the website for free, irs.gov/prod/bus_info/tax_pro/some professional tax services, or for a fee from Superintendent of Documents, Washington, D.C. 20402. 202-512-1800. access.gpo.gov/su_docs. Send for the U.S. Government Information Catalog. Agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting. Crop production. 111,100, oilseed and grain farming. 1,112.10, vegetable and melon farming, including potatoes and yams. 111,300, fruit and tree nut farming. 111,400, greenhouse, nursery, and floriculture production. 111,900, other crop farming, including tobacco, cotton, sugar cane, hay, peanut, sugar beet, and all other crop farming. Animal production. 112,111, beef cattle ranching and farming. 112,112, cattle feedlots. 112,120, dairy cattle and milk production. 112,210, hog and pig farming. 112,300, poultry and egg production. 112,400, sheep and goat farming. 112,510, animal aquaculture, including shellfish and finfish farms and hatcheries. 112,900, other animal production. Forestry and logging. 113,100, timber tract operation. 113,210, forest nurseries and gathering of forest products. 113,310, logging. Fishing, hunting, and trapping. 114,110, fishing. 114,210, hunting and trapping. Support activities for agriculture and forestry. 115,110, support activities for crop production, including cotton ginning, soil preparation, planting, and cultivating. 115,210, support activities for animal production. 115,310, support activities for forestry. Mining. 212,100, oil and gas extraction. 212,110, coal mining. 212,200, metal ore mining. 212,310, stone mining and quarrying. 212,320, sand, gravel, clay and ceramic, and refractory minerals mining and quarrying. 212,390, other non-metallic mineral mining and quarrying. 213,110, support activities for mining. Utilities. 221,100, electric power generation, transmission and distribution. 221,200, natural gas distribution. 221,300, water, sewage, and other systems. Construction. Building, developing, and general contracting. 233,110, land subdivision and land development. 233,200, residential building construction. 233,300, non-residential building construction. Heavy construction. 234,100, highway, street, bridge, and tunnel construction. 234,900, other heavy construction. Special trade contractors. 235,110, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning contractors. 235,210, painting and wall covering contractors. 235,310, electrical contractors. 235,400, masonry, drywall, insulation, and tile contractors. 235,500, carpentry and floor contractors. 235,610, roofing, siding, and sheet metal contractors. 235,710, concrete contractors. 235,810, water well drilling contractors. 235,900, other special trade contractors. Manufacturing. Food manufacturing. 311,110, animal food manufacturing. 311,200, grain and oil seed milling. 311,300, sugar and confectionery product manufacturing. 311,400, fruit and vegetable preserving and specialty food manufacturing. 311,500, dairy product manufacturing. 311,610, animal slaughtering and processing. 311,710, seafood product preparation and packaging. 311,800, bakeries and tortilla manufacturing. 311,900, other food manufacturing, including coffee, tea, flavorings, and seasonings. Beverage and tobacco product manufacturing. 312,110, soft drink and ice manufacturing. 312,120, breweries. 312,130, wineries. 312,140, distilleries. 312,200, tobacco manufacturing. Textile mills and textile product mills. 313,000, textile mills. 314,000, textile product mills. Apparel manufacturing. 315,100, apparel knitting mills. 315,210, cut and sew apparel contractors. 315,220, men's and boys cut and sew apparel manufacturing. 315,230, women's and girls cut and sew apparel manufacturing. 315,290, other cut and sew apparel manufacturing. 315,990, apparel accessories and other apparel manufacturing. Leather and allied product manufacturing. 316,110, leather and hide tanning and finishing. 316,210, footwear manufacturing, including rubber and plastics. 316,990, other leather and allied product manufacturing. Wood product manufacturing. 321,110, sawmills and wood preservation. 321,210, veneer, plywood, and engineered wood product manufacturing. 321,900, other wood product manufacturing. Paper manufacturing. 322,100, pulp, paper, and paperboard mills. 322,200, converted paper product manufacturing. Printing and related support activities. 323,100, printing and related support activities. Petroleum and coal products manufacturing. 324,110, petroleum refineries, including integrated. 324,120, asphalt paving, roofing, and saturated materials manufacturing. 324,190, other petroleum and coal products manufacturing. Chemical manufacturing. 325,100, basic chemical manufacturing. 325,200, resin, synthetic rubber and artificial and synthetic fibers and filaments manufacturing. 325,300, pesticide, fertilizer, and other agricultural chemical manufacturing. 325,410, pharmaceutical and medicine manufacturing. 325,500, paint, coating, and adhesive manufacturing. 325,600, soap, cleaning compound, and toilet preparation manufacturing. 325,900, other chemical product and preparation manufacturing. Plastics and rubber products manufacturing. 326,100, plastics product manufacturing. 326,200, rubber products manufacturing. Non-metallic mineral product manufacturing. 327,100, clay product and refractory manufacturing. 327,210, glass and glass product manufacturing. 327,300, cement and concrete product manufacturing. 327,400, lime and gypsum product manufacturing. 327,900, other non-metallic mineral product manufacturing. Primary metal manufacturing. 331,110, iron and steel mills and ferroalloy manufacturing. 331,200, steel product manufacturing from purchased steel. 331,310, alumina and aluminum production and processing. 331,400, non-ferrous metal, except aluminum, production and processing. 331,500, foundries. Fabricated metal product manufacturing. 332,110, forging and stamping. 332,210, cutlery and hand tool manufacturing. 332,300, architectural and structural metals manufacturing. 332,400, boiler, tank, and shipping container manufacturing. 332,510, hardware manufacturing. 332,610, spring and wire product manufacturing. 332,700, machine shops, turned product, and screw, nut and bolt manufacturing. 332,810, coating, engraving, heat treating, and allied activities. 332,900, other fabricated metal product manufacturing. Machinery manufacturing. 333,100, agriculture, construction, and mining machinery manufacturing. 333,200, industrial machinery manufacturing. 333,310, commercial and service industry machinery manufacturing. 333,410, ventilation, heating, air conditioning, and commercial. Refrigeration equipment manufacturing. 333,510, metalworking machinery manufacturing. 333,610, engine, turbine, and power transmission equipment manufacturing. 333,900, other general-purpose machinery manufacturing. Computer and electronic product manufacturing. 334,110, computer and peripheral equipment manufacturing. 334,200, communications equipment manufacturing. 334,310, audio and video equipment manufacturing. 334,410, semiconductor and other electronic component manufacturing. 334,500, navigational measuring, electromedical, and control instruments manufacturing. 334,610, manufacturing and reproducing magnetic and optical media, electrical equipment, appliance, and component manufacturing. 335,100, electrical lighting equipment manufacturing. 335,200, household appliance manufacturing. 335,310, electrical equipment manufacturing. 335,900, other electrical equipment and component manufacturing. Transportation equipment manufacturing. 336,100, motor vehicle manufacturing. 336,210, motor vehicle body and trailer manufacturing. 336,300, motor vehicle parts manufacturing. 336,410, aerospace product and parts manufacturing. 336,510, railroad rolling stock manufacturing. 336,610, ship and boat building. 336,990, other transportation equipment manufacturing. Furniture and related product manufacturing. 337,000, furniture and related product manufacturing. Miscellaneous manufacturing. 339,110, medical equipment and supplies manufacturing. 339,900, other miscellaneous manufacturing. Wholesale trade. Wholesale trade, durable goods. 421,100, motor vehicles and motor vehicle parts and supplies wholesalers. 421,200, furniture and home furnishings wholesalers. 421,300, lumber and other construction materials wholesalers. 421,400, professional and commercial equipment and supplies wholesalers. 421,500, metal and mineral, except petroleum, wholesalers. 421,600, electrical goods wholesalers. 421,700, hardware and plumbing and heating equipment supplies wholesalers. 421,800, machinery, equipment and supplies wholesalers. 421,910, sporting and recreational goods and supplies wholesalers. 421,920, toy and hobby goods and supplies wholesalers. 421,930, recyclable material wholesalers. 421,940, jewelry, watch, precious stone, and precious metal wholesalers. 421,990, other miscellaneous durable goods wholesalers. Wholesale trade, non-durable goods. 422,100, paper and paper product wholesalers. 422,210, drugs and druggists sundries wholesalers. 422,300, apparel, piece goods, and notions wholesalers. 422,400, grocery and related products wholesalers. 422,500, farm product raw material wholesalers. 422,600, chemical and allied products wholesalers. 422,700, petroleum and petroleum products wholesalers. 422,800, beer, wine, and distilled alcoholic beverage wholesalers. 422,910, farm supplies wholesalers. 422,920, book, periodical, and newspaper wholesalers. 422,930, flower, nursery stock, and florists supplies wholesalers. 422,940, tobacco and tobacco product wholesalers. 422,950, paint, varnish, and supplies wholesalers. 422,990, other miscellaneous non-durable goods wholesalers. Retail trade. Motor vehicle and parts dealers. 441,110, new car dealers. 441,120, used car dealers. 441,210, recreational vehicle dealers. 441,221, motorcycle dealers. 441,222, boat dealers. 441,229, all other motor vehicle dealers. 441,300, automotive parts, accessories, and tire stores. Furniture and home furnishings stores. 442,110, furniture stores. 442,210, floor covering stores. 442,291, window treatment stores. 442,299, all other home furnishings stores. Electronics and appliance stores. 443,111, household appliance stores. 443,112, radio, television, and other electronics stores. 443,120, computer and software stores. 443,130, camera and photographic supplies stores. Building material and garden equipment and supplies dealers. 444,110, home centers. 444,120, paint and wallpaper stores. 444,130, hardware stores. 444,190, other building material dealers. 444,200, lawn and garden equipment and supplies stores. Food and beverage stores. 445,110, supermarkets and other grocery, except convenience, stores. 445,120, convenience stores. 445,210, meat markets. 445,220, fish and seafood markets. 445,230, fruit and vegetable markets. 445,291, baked goods stores. 445,292, confectionery and nut stores. 445,299, all other specialty food stores. 445,310, beer, wine, and liquor stores. Health and personal care stores. 446,110, pharmacies and drug stores. 446,120, cosmetics, beauty supplies, and perfume stores. 446,130, optical goods stores. 446,190, other health and personal care stores. Gasoline stations. 447,100 gasoline stations, including convenience stores with gas. Clothing and clothing accessories stores. 448,110, men's clothing stores. 448,120, women's clothing stores. 448,130, children's and infants clothing stores. 448,140, family clothing stores. 448,150, clothing accessories stores. 448,190, other clothing stores. 448,210, shoe stores. 448,310, jewelry stores. 448,320, luggage and leather goods stores. Sporting goods, hobby, book and music stores. 451,110, sporting goods stores. 451,120, hobby, toy and game stores. 451,130, sewing, needlework and piece goods stores. 451,140, musical instrument and supplies stores. 451,211, bookstores. 451,212, news dealers and newsstands. 451,220, pre-recorded tape, compact disc and record stores. General merchandise stores. 452,110, department stores. 452,900, other general merchandise stores. Miscellaneous store retailers. 453,110, florists. 453,210, office supplies and stationery stores. 451,220, gift, novelty and souvenir stores. 453,310, used merchandise stores. 453,910, pet and pet supplies stores. 453,920, art dealers. 453,930, manufactured, mobile, home dealers. 453,990, all other miscellaneous store retailers, including candle and trophy shops. Non-store retailers. 454,110, electronic shopping and mail order houses. 454,210, vending machine operators. 454,311, heating oil dealers. 454,312, liquefied petroleum gas, bottled gas, dealers. 454,319, other fuel dealers. 454,390, other direct selling establishments, including door-to-door retailing, frozen food plan providers, party plan merchandisers and coffee break service providers. Transportation and warehousing. Air, rail, and water transportation. 481,000, air transportation. 482,000, rail transportation. 483,000, water transportation. Truck transportation. 484,110, general freight trucking, local. 484,120, general freight trucking, long distance. 484,200, specialized freight trucking. Transit and ground passenger transportation. 485,110, urban transit systems. 485,210, interurban and rural bus transportation. 485,310, taxi service. 485,320, limousine service. 485,410, school and employee bus transportation. 458,510, charter bus industry. 485,990, other transit and ground passenger transportation. Pipeline transportation. 486,000 pipeline transportation. Scenic and sightseeing transportation. 487,000 scenic and sightseeing transportation. Support activities for transportation. 488,100, support activities for air transportation. 488,210, support activities for rail transportation. 488,300, support activities for water transportation. 488,410, motor vehicle towing. 488,490, other support activities for road transportation. 488,510, freight transportation arrangement. 488,990, other support activities for transportation. Couriers and messengers. 492,110, couriers. 492,210, local messengers and local delivery. Warehousing and storage. 493,100 warehousing and storage facilities, except lessors of many warehouses and self-storage units. Information. Publishing industries. 511,110, newspaper publishers. 511,120, periodical publishers. 511,130, book publishers. 511,140, database and directory publishers. 511,190, other publishers. 511,210, software publishers. Motion picture and sound recording industries. 512,100, motion picture and video industries, except video rental. 512,200, sound recording industries. Broadcasting and telecommunications. 513,100, radio and television broadcasting. 513,200, cable networks and program distribution. 513,300, telecommunications, including paging, cellular, satellite and other telecommunications. Information services and data processing services. 514,100, information services, including news syndicates, libraries, and online information services. 514,210, data processing services. Finance and insurance. Depository credit intermediation. 522,110, commercial banking. 522,120, savings institutions. 522,130, credit unions. 522,190, other depository credit intermediation. Non-depository credit intermediation. 522,210, credit card issuing. 522,220, sales financing. 522,291, consumer lending. 522,292, real estate credit, including mortgage bankers and originators. 522,293, international trade financing. 522,294, secondary market financing. 522,298, all other non-depository credit intermediation. Activities related to credit intermediation. 522,300 activities related to credit intermediation, including loan brokers. securities, commodity contracts, and other financial investments and related activities. 523,110, investment banking and securities dealing. 523,120, securities brokerage. 523,130, commodity contracts dealing. 523,140, commodity contracts brokerage. 523,210, securities and commodity exchanges. 523,900, other financial investment activities, including portfolio management and investment advice. Insurance carriers and related activities. 524,140, direct life, health and medical insurance and reinsurance carriers. 524,150, direct insurance and reinsurance, except life, health, and medical, carriers. 524,210, insurance agencies and brokerages. 524,290, other insurance-related activities. Funds, trusts and other financial vehicles. 525,100, insurance and employee benefit funds. 525,910, open-end investment funds, Form 1120 RIC. 525,920, trusts, estates and agency accounts. 525,930, real estate investment trusts, Form 1120 right. 525,990, other financial vehicles. Real estate and rental and leasing. Real estate. 531,110, lessors of residential buildings and dwellings. 531,120, lessors of non-residential buildings, except mini warehouses. 531,130, lessors of mini warehouses and self-storage units. 531,190, lessors of other real estate property. 531,210, offices of real estate agents and brokers. 531,310, real estate property managers. 531,320, offices of real estate appraisers. 531,390, other activities related to real estate. Rental and leasing services. 532,100, automotive equipment rental and leasing. 532,210, consumer electronics and appliances rental. 532,220, formal wear and costume rental. 532,230, videotape and disc rental. 532,290, other consumer goods rental. 532,310, general rental centers. 532,400, commercial and industrial machinery and equipment rental and leasing. Lessors of non-financial intangible assets. Except copyrighted works. 533,110, lessors of non-financial intangible assets, except copyrighted works. Professional, scientific, and technical services. Legal services. 541,110, offices of lawyers. 541,190, other legal services. Accounting, tax preparation, bookkeeping, and payroll services. 541,211, offices of certified public accountants. 541,213, tax preparation services. 541,214, payroll services. 541,219, other accounting services. Architectural, engineering and related services. 541,310, architectural services. 541,320, Landscape Architecture Services. 541,330, Engineering Services. 541,340, Drafting Services. 541,350, Building Inspection Services. 541,360, Geophysical Surveying and Mapping Services. 541,370, Surveying and Mapping, except Geophysical, Services. 541,380, Testing Laboratories. Specialized Design Services. 541,400 Specialized Design Services, including Interior, Industrial, Graphic and Fashion Design. Computer Systems Design and Related Services. 541,511, Custom Computer Programming Services. 541,512, Computer Systems Design Services. 541,513, Computer Facilities Management Services. 541,519, Other Computer-Related Services. Other Professional, Scientific and Technical Services. 541,600, Management, Scientific and Technical Consulting Services. 541,700, Scientific Research and Development Services. 541,800, Advertising and Related Services. 541,910, Marketing Research and Public Opinion Polling. 541,920, Photographic Services. 541,930, Translation and Interpretation Services. 541,940, Veterinary Services. 541,990, All Other Professional, Scientific and Technical Services. Management of Companies, Holding Companies. 551,111, Offices of Bank Holding Companies. 551,112, Offices of Other Holding Companies. Administrative and Support and Waste Management and Remediation Services. Administrative and Support Services. 561,110, Office Administrative Services. 561,210, Facilities Support Services. 561,300, Employment Services. 561,410, Document Preparation Services. 561,420, Telephone Call Centers. 561,430, Business Service Centers, including private mail centers and copy shops. 561,440, Collection Agencies. 561,450, Credit Bureaus. 561,490, Other Business Support Services, including Repossession Services, Court Reporting and Stenotype Services. 561,500, Travel Arrangement and Reservation Services. 561,600, Investigation and Security Services. 561,710, Exterminating and Pest Control Services. 561,720, Janitorial Services. 561,730, Landscaping Services. 561,740, Carpet and Upholstery Cleaning Services. 561,790, Other Services to Buildings and Dwellings. 561,900, Other Support Services, including Packaging and Labeling Services and Convention and Trade Show Organizers. Waste Management and Remediation Services. 562,000 Waste Management and Remediation Services. Educational Services. 611,000 Educational Services, including schools, colleges, and universities. Healthcare and social assistance. Offices of physicians and dentists. 621,111, offices of physicians, except mental health specialists. 621,112, offices of physicians, mental health specialists. 621,210, offices of dentists. Offices of other health practitioners. 621,310, offices of chiropractors. 621,320, offices of optometrists. 621,330, offices of mental health practitioners, except physicians. 621,340, offices of physical, occupational, and speech therapists and audiologists. 621,391, offices of podiatrists. 621,399, offices of all other miscellaneous health practitioners. Outpatient care centers. 621,410, family planning centers. 621,420, outpatient mental health and substance abuse centers. 621,491, HMO medical centers. 621,492, kidney dialysis centers. 621,493, freestanding ambulatory surgical and emergency centers. 621,498, all other outpatient care centers. Medical and diagnostic laboratories. 621,510, medical and diagnostic laboratories. Home health care services. 621,610, home health care services. Other ambulatory health care services. 621,900, other ambulatory health care services, including ambulance services and blood and organ banks. Hospitals. 622,000, hospitals. Nursing and residential care facilities. 623,000, nursing and residential care facilities. Social assistance. 624,100, individual and family services. 624,200, community food and housing and emergency and other relief services. 624,310, vocational rehabilitation services. 624,410, child daycare services. Arts, entertainment, and recreation. Performing arts, spectator sports, and related industries. 711,100, performing arts companies. 711,210, spectator sports, including sports clubs and racetracks. 711,300, promoters of performing arts, sports, and similar events. 711,410, agents and managers for artists, athletes, entertainers, and other public figures. 711,510, independent artists, writers and performers. Museums, historical sites, and similar institutions. 712,100, museums, historical sites and similar institutions. Amusement, gambling, and recreation industries. 713,100, amusement parks and arcades. 713,200, gambling industries. 713,900, other amusement and recreation industries, including golf courses, skiing facilities, marinas, fitness centers and bowling centers. Accommodation and food services. Accommodation. 721,110, hotels, except casino hotels, and motels. 721,120, casino hotels. 721,191, bed and breakfast inns. 721,199, all other traveler accommodation. 721,210, RV, recreational vehicle, parks and recreational camps. 721,310, rooming and boarding houses. Food services and drinking places. 722,110, full-service restaurants. 722,210, limited service eating places. 722,300, special food services, including food service contractors and caterers. 722,410, drinking places, alcoholic beverages. Other services. Repair and maintenance. 811,110, automotive mechanical and electrical repair and maintenance. 811,120, automotive body, paint, interior and glass repair. 811,190, other automotive repair and maintenance, including oil change and lubrication shops and car washes. 811,210, electronic and precision equipment repair and maintenance. 811,310, commercial and industrial machinery and equipment, except automotive and electronic, repair and maintenance. 811,410, home and garden equipment and appliance repair and maintenance. 811,420, reupholstery and furniture repair. 811,430, footwear and leather goods repair. 811,490, other personal and household goods repair and maintenance. Personal and laundry services. 812,111, barber shops. 812,112, beauty salons. 812,113, nail salons. 812,190, other personal care services, including diet and weight reducing centers. 812,210, funeral homes and funeral services. 812,220, cemeteries and crematories. 812,310, coin-operated laundries and dry cleaners. 812,320, dry cleaning and laundry services, except coin-operated. 812,330, linen and uniform supply. 812,910, pet care, except veterinary, services. 812,920, photo finishing. 812,930, parking lots and garages. 812,990, all other personal services. Religious, grant-making, civic, professional and similar organizations. 813,000, religious, grant-making, civic, professional and similar organizations. Business tax publications. irs.gov/business/small. Fax back service, 703-368-9694, get forms. 800-829-3676, order forms and booklets. The tax guides at irs.gov are in PDF, portable document file, so you need Adobe Acrobat Reader to read it, which you can get for free at adobe.com. Some useful IRS tax booklets are as follows. Publication 1066, Small Business Tax Workshops Workbooks. Publication 15B, Employer's Tax Guide to Fringe Benefits. Publication 15, Circular E, Employer's Tax Guide. Publication 15A, Supplemental Employer's Tax Guide. Publication 1635, Understanding Your EIN, Employee Identification Number. Publication 463, Travel, Entertainment, Gift and Car Expenses. Publication 509, Tax Calendar. Publication 538, Accounting Periods and Methods. Publication 560, Retirement Plans for Small Business. Publication 583, Starting a Business and Record Keeping. Publication 587, Business Use of Your Home. Publication 946, How to Depreciate Property. Sole Proprietorship. Publication 334, Tax Guide for Small Business. Publication 505, Tax Withholding and Estimated Tax. Publication 533, Self-Employment Tax. Partnerships. Publication 541, Partnership Tax Guide. Publication 505, Tax Withholding and Estimated Tax. Publication 533, Self-Employment Tax. Corporations. Publication 542, Corporation Tax Guide. S Corporation, Form 11205, Tax Return for an S Corporation. Limited Liability Corporations, LLC. Corporation, Publication 542, Corporation Tax Guide. Chapter 3. Business Income Taxes 2. Sole Proprietorship Taxes. If you are a sole proprietorship business or are a partner, you will have to file and pay federal estimated tax reports each quarter based on estimated annual income. Some states also require periodic estimates through the year. You and your business are one entity in the eyes of the law and the IRS. You must pay self-employment tax, which is the same as paying FICA twice. Any income tax liability incurred by your business is incurred by you personally and reported on Schedule C, Profit or Loss from Business, Sole Proprietorship, of Form 1040, which is your personal tax return. You are liable for self-employment tax, which is reported on Schedule SE, Social Security Self-Employment Tax, Form 1040. You get a deduction on your 1040 for half of your self-employment taxes. The IRS loves to target small business owners because many have money that the IRS can get, plus the fact that most don't understand the tax situation all that much and make mistakes all the time, which are easy pickings for a charge of tax evasion, since ignorance of the law is no excuse and fighting the IRS in court is like fighting the old boys club. The judge and the IRS both work for the government. What do you think your chances are? Do not deduct expenses that are not allowed under current tax law. Partnership taxes. Partnerships file an annual information return and each partner's share of profits is included in their individual personal income tax return. A partnership as a business is not taxed, but it is required to file an annual information return, Form 1065, U.S. Partnership Return of Income, which tells the IRS and State Department of Revenue what the partnership earned during the year, and how those earnings have been dispersed to the partners. The partners report their earnings on their personal tax returns, Schedule K1, Partners' Share of Income, Credits, Deductions, etc., of Form 1065, and on Schedule E, Page 2, Income or Loss from Partnerships and S Corporations, of your personal tax return, Form 1040. Self-employment tax is reported on Schedule SE, Form 1040. S Corporation taxes. The S Corporation is a flow-through entity, which means that the corporation is not taxed, but the individuals who own it pay taxes on earnings through their personal income taxes. Earnings are reported on Schedule E, Form 1040. Self-employment tax is reported on Schedule SE, Form 1040. C Corporation taxes. If you do business as a C Corporation, you and your corporation are two different entities, and each must file a return. You personally will be liable for income tax on wages and dividends you receive from the corporation and for paying Social Security tax by filing Form 1040, the same as you would as an employee of any other company. Your corporation will be liable for income taxes on profits, which are reported by filing Form 1120. A corporation pays half the FICA as the employer and half as an employee. Any earnings the corporation does not pay out as wages will be taxed twice, once as profits to the corporation and again as dividend income to you. Any C corporation whose estimated tax is expected to be $500 or more is required to make estimated tax payments which are due on the 15th of the following months of the corporation's fiscal year, 4th month, 6th month, 9th month, and 12th month. Get IRS Publication 334, Tax Guide for Small Business and IRS Worksheet 1120, Corporation Estimated Tax. Chapter 4. Business Income Taxes 3. Personal and Business Tax Articles at thebalancemoney.com. thebalancemoney.com/taxes-407390. liveabout.com/business-law-taxes-6504676. Lots of free articles. Business Tax Checklist/Business Tax Tips. A good tax shelters to claim a sideline business like selling stamps or your artwork, running a farm, trying to make it as a musician or an inventor, etc. And claiming all your business expenses as deductions. Turn your hobby into a business and you can claim all your expenses as a deduction on your taxes, but you have to show that it's a bona fide business venture. Make a real business plan. Act as though you're really planning to make money and expand. You can take a loss for 2 years, but you must show a profit for 3 out of 5 years in order to keep operating. You can either continue as a hobby which still has some deductions, close the business and start all over with another business, show the IRS that you still intend to make a profit, or get into a business like animal breeding or timber farming where you only have to make a profit in 2 out of 7 years. There are many part-time businesses you can start and you can make part-time deductions on things you use such as expenses on your car, etc. If you like fishing, start selling fishing lures and the fish and claim your big boat as a business expense. If you like flying, offer flying lessons, rides, or take aerial photographs and use your airplane as an expense. If you own a yacht, start a small business of yacht charters. Use your RV as your deductible expense for transporting your products to flea markets, or paint an ad on the side of it and use it as an advertising billboard. If you work full-time, you can use the paper losses from your part-time business to reduce your overall taxable income. Paper losses are simply taking full use of all the deductions you're entitled to. Keep separate accounts for your business venture. Keep good records. You can deduct all losses from your part-time business to cover for the taxes you would pay on your full-time job. You can rent out your recreational vehicle, boat, or plane and claim deductions for depreciation for double the time it's rented out. If you give it to a leasing agent to rent out for you, it's assumed that it's available all the time, hence, you can take a deduction for the full year of depreciation as well as expenses on it like repair, maintenance, etc. You can start an import business by simply buying inexpensive things in a foreign country and selling them to friends or at flea markets when you get back. There's no duty on artwork or handicrafts. The usual duty is you can bring back $400 duty-free and pay 10% on the next $1,000. You can deduct all the expenses of selling your booty, such as the cost of a booth at a flea market as well as all your travel expenses on your income taxes. With this business, you can travel tax-free. Small business operating expenses are all deductible. This is anything that you use to business with, including your car expenses, briefcase, office supplies, computer, home phone, and even medical checkups when proof of fitness is a job requirement. You're allowed to give business gifts up to $25 per year per person if you itemize. You can claim 80% for meal and entertainment deductions, but you should itemize it. The IRS now wants you to prove meal expenses over $25 with something like a credit card receipt or a cancelled check. You can use your personal items for your business and deduct the percentage use of those items that are being used for business purposes, usually for more than 50% of their value. Depreciation can be a big deductible. The way it's calculated is for every business asset you own, divide its life expectancy by its cost and you can deduct that value every year for depreciation. The IRS has lists which break down most items into 5 or 7 year lifespans. Get the booklets. 534. Depreciation, 946. How to begin depreciating your property and Form 4562. Refer to them for more detailed information. If you have any business for tax purposes, treat yourself as a small business, not as an employee of that business. This applies to all the people who do independent contracting work for companies. Hire a spouse for your small business and he/she can immediately start a tax-deductible IRA. Learn the Social Security system, get her paying into it so that she can earn the minimum 40 credits over 10 years to become eligible for lifelong benefits. No federal unemployment insurance is required to be paid for family members. Hire your children, pay them and take the deductibles. If children are under 19, they're not subject to Social Security taxes. You don't lose the dependency exemption when doing this. If your child earns a certain amount, around $2,500, they have to file a tax return. If putting money away for your children, the first $500 is tax-free, the next $500 is taxed at 15% and anything after that is taxed at the parent's full rate. A way to avoid this is to hire your child, even if 4 or 5 years old, and get him to start an IRA. There's no age limit to IRAs, the only requirement is that you get the money from employment. He contributes money to the IRA by working for you until he's 18, then he takes the money out to pay for college. The 10% penalty for cashing in the IRA early will be more than compensated for by the compounded interest over all those years. You can deduct the cost of Social Security tax and Medicare tax on employees' wages, as well as personal property taxes and the cost of business licenses. Self-employed workers can deduct 50% of the Social Security and Medicare taxes they pay on their earnings. The cost of membership in professional associations, Board of Trade and Chambers of Commerce is deductible. A tax credit is allowed for energy produced from or wind, solar, geothermal, incremental hydropower, small irrigation systems, landfill gas, and municipal solid waste facilities. Your business can deduct amounts paid to lease office space. Repairs you make to business equipment, office space, buildings, and other property, as well as the costs of maintenance, are deductible business expenses. Producers of special fuels, such as alcohol fuels, low-sulfur diesel, fuel from non-conventional sources and from biodiesel, can claim tax credits. The investment credit consists of the rehabilitation tax credit, energy credits, and the credits for qualifying advanced coal projects and qualifying gasification projects. The cost of prizes and awards given to employees can be deducted. Employers are allowed to claim a tax credit for hiring members of disadvantaged groups, such as welfare recipients. A credit available to small producers of alcohol and ethanol fuels. The depletion deduction allows an owner or operator to account for the reduction of a product's reserves. Depreciation deductions allow you to write off the cost of business assets over time. Disabled access credit. Improve access for the disabled, such as constructing entrance ramps or special parking spaces. Domestic production deduction. Businesses can write off 6% of their net income from U.S. production activities including manufacturing, construction, mining, drilling, and farming. Amounts paid to independent contractors who provide services to your business are deductible. Fees imposed by credit card companies to process charge card sales can be deducted. Amounts paid for legal and accounting services for your business are deductible. As the owner of a small business, it's cheaper to buy a personal auto insurance policy for occasional use of your car for business than to classify your car as a company car. If you get in an accident while it's being used for business, the insurance company will pay for the damages. You can deduct your VCR and computer as investment or tax planning expenses. As a small business owner, you're allowed to deduct 25% of your medical insurance premium on line 26 of the 1040 form. As an employee, use Form 2106 to calculate your employee business expenses. This is your key to your deductions. Self-employed people can deduct travel expenses between work sites. Automobile expenses. Charges imposed by banks for business accounts are tax-deductible expenses. Businesses can deduct the cost of many types of insurance, including policies covering property and casualty protection, malpractice coverage, and vehicle insurance. Interest paid on debt taken on by a business are tax deductible. Credits from investments in activities you don't materially participate can be used to offset the tax due on passive income. Amounts paid for employee retirement plans are allowed as a deduction. Deduct investment expenses on any venture you do. Learn the tax codes. You can only give one tax-free deduction $25 value gift per person per year. Employee benefit programs. Expensing, called the Section 179 deduction, allows businesses to fully deduct the cost of some assets placed in service that would otherwise be depreciated over many years. Your business can deduct the cost of holiday parties for employees. Employers can claim a tax credit of up to $150,000 a year for 25% of the cost of building and operating child care facilities for their employees. Commissions paid to salespeople and other workers are deductible. 50% of the cost of meals and entertainment for clients is deductible. If you, or one of your employees, is present, the meal is directly related to or associated with the active conduct of your business and the meal is not lavish or extravagant. Find an excuse to travel for job reasons and also make it a vacation. Deduct it as a business trip. Home office expenses. Businesses get a tax credit for part of the wages they pay to members of Indian tribes who live on or near an Indian reservation. If you're self-employed full-time, reduce net income by as much as possible through deductions to pay the least amount you can into self-employment Social Security taxes. Contribute as much as possible into KIA, IRAs, and other retirement plans. If setting up an company, set up an S corporation because this avoids the double taxing deal of both the corporation and the personal income taxes of the employees. Instead, it's only taxed when the money goes back to the shareholders on their tax returns. Investors in projects that provide housing primarily to lower income taxpayers can claim a credit for part of their investment. Make your vacations and trips tax deductible by setting up job interviews in those places and deducting them. Keep a copy of your job application and all your expenses. The only requirement is that the job is similar to the one you have now and you have to spend 2 hours per day working on your new job, so set up multiple interviews in a particular city and you can have a pretty good vacation tax-free. Many business expenses are allowed if you can justify them, for example, a computer and taking a course at college. Net operating losses from your business. New Markets Tax Credit is an incentive for investments in entities that lend money to firms in poorer areas. Office expenses. Orphan drug credit is claimed by pharmaceutical companies on the costs of developing drugs to combat rare diseases affecting fewer than 200,000 people. Pension plan startup costs. You can deduct the cost of postage to mail business letters and packages. Research and experimentation credit. Self-employeds can deduct 100% of premiums paid for their health insurance on the 1040, even if they do not itemize deductions. Sales taxes are not deductible on personal tax returns, but they are if you own a small business and use what you buy for the business. Take deductions for all repairs to business equipment. The cost of a telephone and long-distance calls for your business can be deducted, unless you operate out of your home, have only one phone line. The cost of travel overnight away from home can be deducted. The cost of utilities for your business is deductible. The cost of business meetings is a deductible expense. The best way to avoid paying matching contributions to your employee retirement plans is to go with a simplified employee pension plan, SEP. There's a Hope Scholarship tax credit and a lifetime learning credit for families and their children going to college. The Hope tax credit is about $1,500. The lifetime learning credit is more complicated, but it is also about $1,500 per year for 2 years only. If you're a landlord, you can deduct some your rental income up to $25,000 as rental losses for repairs, etc. Up to $25 a year can be deducted for the cost of business gifts to any number of customers or clients. Wages paid to employees is a deductible business expense. You can deduct up to $5,000 of the cost of starting up a new business in the year the business is launched. The cost of office supplies, such as paper, pens, notebooks, file folders, paper clips, scissors, rubber bands, appointment books, desk calendars, and blank CD-ROMs can be deducted. You can deduct business transactions during periods of temporary unemployment. You can write off business losses. You can deduct 80% of the business expenses on your car. You can deduct the interest you owe on loans as a business expense. You can go to conventions, workshops, check out new product providers, any manner of travel for business reasons and deduct it, although be forewarned that's the first they look for abuse in an audit. Business expenses and deductions. Business expenses and deductions change all the time. Refer to the IRS code, irs.gov, and find a small business accountant or tax preparer who will tell how to maximize your claim of expenses and deductions. Whether you work for yourself or for someone else, virtually everything you spend on your job can be deducted as long as you keep receipts and records. That includes books, boots, everything. Get IRS Tax Booklet 334. Tax Guide for Small Business and study it thoroughly for all deductions you can find. The tax laws are constantly changing, so do your own research. irs.ustrees.gov/p535/ch10.html. The following were deductions when I put this book together, but tax laws change all the time. Here is what I came up with. Abandonment of property used for business purposes. Accounting or bookkeeping services. Accounts receivable, worthless, delinquent debtor. Achievement awards. Advertising and promotion, business cards. Newspaper ads, yellow pages ads, sponsorship of a non-profit cause, etc. Alterations to business and the property. Amortization. Answering service. Attending seminars. Attorney fees. Auto club membership, parking, and tolls. Automobile expenses for business including taxi, bus, and chauffeur. Bad debt, people who owe you money that they don't pay you. Bank fees on business accounts. Board meetings. Bonuses to employees. Books related to business. Briefcase or samples case. Building improvement, repair, new building, depreciation. All expenses in running the building. Burglary losses not covered by insurance. Business equipment that you buy or lease. Business cards, stationery, and letterhead. Business plan expenses. Business taxes, except for federal income taxes. Business association membership dues. Business gifts. Business development expenses. Business travel and entertainment. Business-related entertainment. Calculator, home computer used for investment purpose. Capital assets sale, losses. Car and vehicle expenses for business purposes or car owned by the business. Theft losses. Casualty damages, damages due to nature, storms, fire, etc. Charges for business checking account. Charitable contributions. Child care expenses like daycare, babysitters. Child tax credit, $400. Child care program at business. Children's salaries. Christmas presents to employees, suppliers, and customers. Christmas cards for business associates. Cleaning services. Collection expenses. Commissions, sales representatives, agents, others. Communications used for business including the cost of monthly telephone service, long-distance calls, toll-free telephone lines, cellular telephones, answering services, pagers, and internet connections. Computer hardware and software, depreciated. Condemnation expenses. Consulting fees. Contributions to a retirement fund. Conventions and trade show expenses. Copyright, trademark, or patent fees. Cost of goods. Costs of business licenses, permits and registration. Credit bureau fees to do credit checks. Delivery charges. Depreciation of business property. Donations, charitable or business related. Dues to professional organizations. DVD player used for investment education. Education assistance program for employees. Education. You can deduct the cost of education if it's relevant to your business, business seminars, workshops, classes, handbooks, manuals. Embezzlement losses not covered by insurance. Employee social events. Employee wages and benefits. Employees' pay. Entertainment, business-related, 80% deductible, must be documented. Equipment repair. Equipment lease costs. Equipment purchases, may be depreciated or expensed. Exhibits for trade shows. Expenses of business, bills like rent, utilities, repairs, etc. As far as I know, you can't deduct the costs of setting up a business like the building, signs, renovations, etc., only the bills for running it after you get started. Fan mail expenses for entertainers and athletes. Fees paid for all professional advice. Fire loss. Freight and shipping charges. Gifts to customers, $75 limit. Gifts to suppliers. Group term insurance for employees. Health insurance. Heating costs. Home office including rent, mortgage, utility bill though only that part used in a home-based business. Hotel fees on business trips. House, home business, or business-related expenses, mortgage interest, depreciation, utilities, services, repairs. If you entertain a business prospect or customer, you can deduct half the cost of the entertainment. Be careful with this one. It sends the IRS a red flag. Insurance premiums, product liability, special riders on homeowners policy, computer insurance, etc. Interest on business loans. Interest on car loan, sales tax on car. Interest on business loans or charge cards, bank charges. Inventory loss due to damage. Kids' wages up to $3,000. Labor costs, independent contractors or employees. Laundry and dry cleaning. Lawsuit expenses. Lease payments, equipment, etc. Legal and professional fees. Legal fees. Licenses and permits and regulatory fees. Lighting. Living quarters provided to employees. Lobbying costs. Losses in any part of the business ranging from theft to delinquent customers. Machines, computers. Mailbox rental. Mailing list development and maintenance. Maintenance of property. Maintenance contracts on office equipment and other repairs. Management costs. Marketing costs. Materials. Membership fees in business organizations. Merchandise. Messenger service. Mileage for business travel. Moving expenses that are the direct result of your business. Newspapers. Office furnishings, depreciated. Office supplies. Office expenses, anything. Office rent. Online computer services. Online service relating to business. Parking. Passport fees. Pension plan. Periodicals, magazines. Physical fitness center or gym membership subsidy offered to employees. Plotting of land for sale by surveyor. Postage and courier charges. Product displays. Professional services, lawyers, accountants, consultants, artists, copywriters, etc. Promotion and publicity. Property repairs. Property maintenance. Property tax. Publicity costs, hosting parties, offering prizes, sponsoring sports teams, etc. Real estate costs. Rebates on sales. Refunds to customers. Rent or mortgage. Rent collection fees. Repairs and improvements to normal business operations. Improvements that increase the value of the asset or lengthen the time you can use it can't be deducted. Research and development expense. Retirement plans. Royalties, if applicable. Safe deposit box, if it holds documents related to business. Salaries, including those paid to spouse or children. Salary expense, employers' contributions to pension, unemployment, workers' compensation. Salary paid to family member like a child. Sales tax on ordinary business purchases. Other deductible taxes are excise, fuel tax, and real estate tax. Selling expenses. Social Security taxes paid by employer. Software. Spouse's travel expenses if for a business purpose. Stationery and printing. Storage space. Subscriptions to business magazines and periodicals. Supplies and materials. Tax preparer's fee. Tax, all tax but federal income tax. Taxi and bus fare. Telephone calls while traveling. Telephone, equipment, monthly service charges, long-distance calls, etc. Telephone answering service/machine. The interest you pay on loans and business purchases on credit. Tolls and parking fees. Tools of your trade. Trade show costs. Training, education. Transportation on business trips. Transportation costs. Travel expenses connected with business, meals and lodging for overnight stays, plus airfare, train, bus, taxi, auto expense, tips, and tolls. Traveling to educational seminars. Unemployment compensation taxes paid by employer. Uniform, company. Utilities. Wages. Worker compensation funds paid by employer. You can claim depreciating assets for virtually all the equipment and furniture you own in your business. Capital losses are fully deductible. Business travel tax info. Whenever possible, make all your trips, even if they are really vacation trips, provably serve some aspect of your business so you can deduct the cost of them from your corporation's profits. The tax rate on corporation profits is 48%, so it makes good sense to deduct the cost of your trip from your overall profits. That could save you up to half the cost of the trip. Uncle Sam will, in effect, pay it for you. It's easy to disguise vacations by calling them workshops, conventions, business meetings, etc. A friend of mine goes on vacation twice a year and always prints up phony itineraries for a workshop or convention related to his field and uses them as evidence of the business nature of his trip. A guy I know told me he went on a trip, went into a room with about 10 of his buddies, all executives from all over the country in the same field. He handed out phony itineraries, they were all in on it, covering their butts too. They all laughed and joked for a few minutes, then went out to play golf, and that was the extent of the workshop. This can be done often if you are in business in which traveling is a necessity, such as import/export. If you are a travel agent, you will often be invited by airlines, cruises, hotels and resorts to travel or stay with them as their guest. They hope, of course, you will then send your travel agency customers to them, but this can work also if you are in a business or occupation like advertising or public relations or writing, where you can give them free publicity in return. You're limited by what you can deduct when you travel on a cruise ship unless it's for a convention, in which case, you can deduct $2,000. GSA.gov/per diem. Business use of a vehicle. When taking the deduction for the business use of a car, you generally have two options. Deduct actual expenses. Claim the IRS standard mileage rate plus parking and tolls. The mileage rate can be used for personally owned or leased cars. For the deduction method, you have to keep records to compute expenses. This method often produces a bigger deduction, but it's tedious and time-consuming. Expenses include gas and oil, depreciation or lease payments, insurance, automobile club memberships, license fees, car washes, repairs, maintenance, etc. Refer to IRS Publication 917, Business Use of a Car. Business tax websites. Try number 658.15 at the Library for Business Finance and Tax Books. http://freeinfosociety.com/media/pdf/4616.pdf, tax deductions for small business, freeinfosociety.com/media/pdf/4616.pdf irs.gov/businesses/small-businesses-self-employed, small business and self-employed tax center. taxprof.typepad.com. watsonfinancialservices.com, small business accountant resource site detailing tax and accounting information for small business owners. webtax.com/miscellaneous/self_employment_tax.htm. irs.gov/businesses/small/article/0, ID =99200,00.html, small business forms, IRS. lib.lsu.edu/govdocs/taxes.html, tax forms, federal and state. irs.ustrees.gov, Internal Revenue Service. taxmap.ntis.gov/taxmap/tmhome.htm, IRS tax map. irs.ustrees.gov/businesses, tax information for businesses, IRS. nalo.com. sba.gov/guides/taxes, types of business taxes. irs.gov/businesses/index.html, Internal Revenue Service information for employers, including the tax codes. irs.gov/businesses/small. irs.gov/businesses/small-b-index.html. tax.gov. sba.gov/guides/taxes/small business taxes. asktaxmoms.com. sba.gov/finance/taxes, business taxes. irs.gov/businesses. irs.gov/businesses/small/index.html. completetax.com. taxreductioninstitute.com. freelance-folder.com/save-money-on-taxes-by-deducting-your-office-expenses. internet-taxprep.com. tax-hq.com/self-employment tax. irs.gov/businesses/small. aztaxplan.com. accssite.com/calcs/taxes-self-employment.html. businesshelp.com/tax/planning.asp. phonerbooks.com/account.htm, PC business accounting and taxes. massmutual.com/mmcalculators/taxes-self-employment.html. tax-business.com. taxprofit.com. nalo.com, Nalo's tax savvy for small business. 1040.com. allsmalabedis.com. boston.com/business/taxes. sba.gov. sba.gov/busadv/frame.cfm. sba.gov/topics/taxes. businesstaxes.info. businesstaxrecovery.com. businesstown.com/taxes/index.asp. centurytaxpro.com. cktax.com, business tax services. cnet.com, look for business tax software. comprehensivetaxsolutions.com. ctctax.com, avoid aggressive collection and asset seizure. Free help guides. downloads.zdnet.com/windows/business+++++windows/business++++windows. expertbusinesssource.com. expresstaxrefund.com. filletaxes.com. firstgov.gov/business/taxes.shtml. greaterhall-chamber.com/economic/business_taxes_and_incentives.asp. icaccounting.com. intuit.com, tax software. irs.gov/bus_info. irs.gov/businesses. irs.gov/businesses. irs.gov/businesses/small. irs.gov/businesses/small, irs.gov/prod/tax_edu/teletax/tc425, passive loss rules in business or investing, irs.ustrees.gov/businesses/small, jkharris.com, jkharris.com, ex-IRS agents solve small business tax problems, jclasser.com, tax and finance books, myownbusiness.org/business_taxes.html, nannytax.com, nalo.com, find articles on small business taxes, nalo.com/encyclopedias/articles/sb/tax41.html, answers to common tax questions on tax deductions for small businesses, payroll-taxes.com, pirosaries.com, tax software, quicken.com, sabrix.com, business tax software, free demo, sba.gov/starting/index startup, sba.gov/starting_business/taxes/federal.html, sbsuite.com, sbsuite.com, sbsuite small business tax services, smbis.com, online version of the Small Business Tax Review, smbis.com, small business taxes and management, stegman.com, CPA firm offering small business services, taxes, audits, business advisory services and business valuations, Baltimore, Maryland. successfuloffice.com/small-business-taxes.htm, survivetaxes.com, taxprofit.com, taxrecoveryamerica.com, business taxes recovery, taxes reviewed for overpayment, taxsites.com/topics/small-business.html, toolkit.cch.com/text/p07_0005.asp, toolkit.cch.com/text/p07_0005.asp, turbotax.com, turbotax.intuit.com, ustrees.gov/treasury/bureaus/irs/fw forms, small business newsletter, vertexinc.com, www.ebtax.com/miscellaneous/self_employment_tax, www.ebtax.net, irs.gov/bus_info/emp_tax/index, 800-829-1040. Ask for number 454, Small Business Tax Kit.